Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an awesome show planned for you today. Hey, guys, I just want to warn you, today's topic isn't sports. We will get to sports heavy tomorrow, but I just have to cover something near and dear to me, something that had me in a bit of a celebratory mood, and perhaps some of you in a celebratory mood. The country appears to be healing. Joy Reid, MSNBC canceled Joy Reid. This is a sign, a small sign of progress, and it connects to everything that we talk about on this show, and I'm going to walk you through it. It connects to the sports world as well, because I keep trying to point out to you all and keep trying to explain to you all that you can see the fall of America and the rise of America through what's going on in sports. And some of the things I'm going to talk about as it relates to Joy Reid have great synergy and alliance and just connection to everything we talk about in the sports world. And today's show will be about the patriarchy versus the matriarchy, and how Joy Reid, like Joy Taylor, a weapon in the army of the people trying to destroy the patriarchy. This is a very, very important development that MSNBC has had to walk away from Joy Reid. This is a sign of them backing up. But I want you all to remain on the offensive, and that's why I'm going to take some time to explain exactly the significance of this, how we got here, what it means, what your takeaways should be. And so just grant me this moment of I got to go big picture on you, take you a little bit away from sports so you can fully understand what's going on in the sports world. And so today I'm going to spend a lot of time on Joy Reid. I may get into some other topics as it relates to Stephen A. Smith. And, you know, he's number 4 in the betting odds to be the Democratic nominee for president. Number 4 in the betting odds. This is by Kalshi. Number 4 in the betting odds to be the Democratic nominee for president. You all thought, oh, why is Whitlock talking about Stephen A. Smith and running for president, blah, blah. And I've been, hey, man, this is how things get planted. And Joy Reid, another plant, A. Smith. But who knows? I'm just, they have big plans for Stephen A. Smith. And those of you, oh, I've been laughing, it'll never happen. I'm like, okay. Kalshi and these betting odds, they don't think it's an impossibility. So we may get into that. The Philadelphia Eagles reportedly are not going to go to the White House. They're going to decline an invitation from the Donald Trump administration to be celebrated at the White House. I may have something to say about that. Shemeka will come on. I may have, at the end, have her talk a little bit about Joy Reid, but want to ask her about, did you guys hear about Steve Smith Sr., the wide receiver, NFL Network guy? He got outed by some husband about him banging a married woman that worked for the Ravens and all, and he's had to apologize. And people are asking the question, who should the husband be mad at? Steve Smith Sr. or his wife? We'll ask Shemeka about that. But before I get into Joy Reid and the significance of her being canned by MSNBC, let me tell you about our life purpose and the mission of Fearless. We try to save babies' lives, and we do it by supporting preborn. The news has been moving so fast, it's hard to keep up and easy to get distracted. Here's something you don't hear much about, and it matters more than almost anything. There are babies in their mother's womb who need our help right now. Preborn's network of clinics are on the front lines nationwide on standby for women deciding between the life of their babies. Preborn seeks these women out to help them choose life, not just for their babies, but for the mothers themselves. By introducing these hurting women to the life growing inside of them, they are twice as likely to choose life. You see, the heartbeat changes everything. That precious heartbeat that says, I am alive today. Would you be a voice for the preborn and become a monthly donor? $28 a month could be the difference between the life and death of so many lives. To donate securely, just dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby, or visit preborn.com/fearless. That's preborn.com/fearless. A single heartbeat can echo across generations. All right, let me get to our fire starter. I want to, why this is important. And Joy Reid, her firing, her dismissal at MSNBC, celebrated across social media platforms all day yesterday. I call Joy Reid racial Maddow. She's the black racist version of Rachel Maddow. Not that Rachel Maddow isn't racist as well, but they put a little blackface on racism and let Joy Reid just go to work. And so I've always called her racial Maddow. Here's the bigger picture thing that I want you to understand about the dangers. And I'm not trying to demonize women, but I'm trying to demonize entitlement and the entitlement mindset that many of us, even those of us on the so-called conservative side, even those of us on the evangelical side, we've bought into entitlement. Oh, no, I haven't. No, I haven't. Yes, you have. Every man that sits around and thinks to himself, oh, man, women had it really, really bad. They couldn't vote. Oh, they weren't allowed in the workplace. We owe them. Our forefathers were terrible to women. They didn't let them work. They didn't let them vote. Oh, they had to get married to feel safe. That mindset is what drives the entitlement of women. They have made you believe that, oh my God, what a raw deal we gave women. And so therefore, oh, we owe them. And that's why you will see, how did Title IX get created? Richard Nixon, a conservative, he was the president that ushered in Title IX. How did it get created? Out of the entitlement mindset, out of the mindset, oh, these crimes against humanity that man has done against women. We owe them. And so therefore, we're going to suck money away from men's sports and invest as much money as possible in women's sports because we owe them a debt. The entitled mind is the most dangerous mind on the planet. And Joy Reid has a very entitled mindset. And that's why she is her demise is being celebrated all over the internet, and people are calling her the most racist person that's ever been on major television in the last 30, 40, 50 years. Now, think that through. Who's all the men that have had TV shows on national TV regularly, on some sort of major network? They're saying Joy Reid takes the cake for racism. How did that happen? How did a woman become the most racist person, have the most racist show on television? Now, again, hey, was members of the KKK, let's say David Duke, let's say, oh, what about David? He didn't have a TV show. He was a guest on TV shows. Show me the national TV show of the last 30, 40, 50 years where someone could be an unashamed racist on TV. Show me, other than Joy Reid, show me where they've gotten away with this. Oh, Tucker Carlson. Miss me with all that BS. No. First of all, Tucker Carlson's not racist. He's a friend of mine. But second, that's a false equivalence that does not hunt. It's a lie. I want to just start. Show me anywhere where a white person could do a cell phone video, a social media video, where they're allowed to say what I'm about to show you from Joy Reid. Show me where a white person in the last 40, 50 years could get away with this. I want to play SOT number 9. Yeah, SOT number 9. Listen to Joy Reid.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right? They Karen out, and then as soon as they get caught, it's like, Green Waterworks. White men can get away with that too. And it has the same effect. Even as the right tries to politicize the idea that masculinity is being robbed from American men by multiculturalism and wokeism, they still want to be able to have their tears.
Could a white person, white or black, tape a video mocking black people? Black tears! Oh, what about black tears? And like take satisfaction and come up with some name. Black tears, LaQuisha and black tears. Because that's what they are, they're LaQuisha. Could it happen? It could not. This woman sat on TV for 4 or 5 straight years, going after white people, calling them every name in the book, calling black people with conservative and or Christian values, coons, Uncle Toms, every name in the book. How did this happen? Entitlement, the entitled mind. The entitled person, the person that thinks the world owes them something, is the most vicious and deadly person on the planet. And women, not just black women, but all these feminist women, and all of these sympathizing men, simps, that run around and confer, oh yeah, you're owed something, baby. My ancestors, they so mistreated you. The world was so unfair. And so you wonder how we got in this chaotic state where we got Joy Reid on MSNBC. We got Jasmine Crockett in the House, in Congress. We got The View with Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg and that whole crew. All of them going after Christian conservatives in the most vicious fashion, policing the behavior of black people in the most illegitimate, irrational way. How did we get here? How did we get here where, oh yeah, let's put 4 or 5 women on a TV show and let's set them up as the authority on American culture and American society. And let's make that every major politician, celebrity has to go on The View and be scolded and or engage with 4 or 5 idiots. Women in delusion. Women who, and again, I'm talking about even the conservative ones that are set on that show. They all sit there with that entitled mindset. You owe me something. The world owes me something. And you wonder how we got here. How we got here where Jasmine Crockett sits in Congress as ghetto as any LaQuisha from the hood, pretending she's cosplaying because she's not that ghetto, but someone's put a battery in her back. Someone has paid her to play the buffoon in Congress. This woman has no qualifications to be in Congress, no qualifications to be anywhere where she's making laws for a nation. She's an idiot. Elizabeth Warren, call me a sexist pig, call me whatever you want. But this whole little bending over for women is how we got here. And it's how you create the Joy Reids, and she turns out to be the most racist person to ever host a television show in mainstream media. I want to play some of the hit, and not just racist, she's just an idiot, illogical. And they've allowed her to run wild on television for years out of a debt that we allegedly owe women, and somehow we owe black women. Because they saved this country. They're the backbone of this country. They built America. And we owe them a debt. And we look how racially divided we are because we've empowered people with an entitled mindset. They made Hillary Clinton Secretary of State out of, she was Secretary of State, not Secretary of Defense. Yeah, Secretary of State. Because we owe women. You got Elizabeth Warren running around because we owe women. You got men running around acting like women because we owe women. We've allowed a level of idiocy and stupidity into our power structure and in our sphere of influence, all out of this debt we owe women. That's how you end up with a Supreme Court justice that will not define what a woman is. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a biologist. I can't tell you what a woman is. That's how you get here. That's how you get here. Well, what do they call them? Birthing people? That's how you get drag queens in libraries reading to kids. That's how you get kid-friendly drag shows. That's how you divide and tear up a country. You start empowering people with an entitled mindset. And it's everywhere. Every show, every discussion has to be injected with some woman who feels like, hey, I'm owed a debt here. And everybody better treat me like I'm owed a debt. That's how you end up with a Joy Taylor hosting a sports talk show for men. And that's how you end up with Joy Taylor with an executive by the balls, willing to accuse that executive of forcing themselves on her if things go wrong. Let me play some of Joy Reid's greatest hits. We'll start with SOT number 1. She compared Joe Biden's COVID recovery to the Trump shooting. Play the clip.
Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter situation. Weird situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing? That he's strong enough, older than Trump, to have gotten something that used to really be fatal to people his age. So if he does fine out of it and comes back and is able to do rallies, isn't that exactly the same?
That's, for lack of a better description, batshit crazy what she just said. I'm sorry for that, but that's what it is. And we allowed that for years because, hey, we owe women a debt, and we particularly owe black women a debt. Entitlement is deadly. You start putting unqualified people with a sense of entitlement in power. That's how you tear down a country. That's how you kill discourse. That's how you kill honesty. That's how you kill the truth. I was thinking about this morning and was thinking about one of my favorite TV shows, Game of Thrones. And I thought about Cersei Lannister. And I thought about the famous scene or the famous series of events that led to Cersei Lannister burning down the Scepter Baelor. She burned down, she threw a bomb or blew up this entire religious building, the biggest building in all of King's Landing. This is a TV show. For those of you, Game of Thrones is a TV show. But they showed this evil woman character, Cersei Lannister, who was the most vicious person in all of, to me, worse than King Joffrey, because she created King Joffrey. She's the most vicious person in the whole Game of Thrones series, and got so upset that she burned down everybody at this Scepter Baelor, the biggest building in King's Landing. She ignites it, everybody gets fried, and you sit there and there's this myth that somehow, oh, women are less violent, less vicious, less mean-spirited than men. No, they're not. No, they're not. No. The nature of women, as spelled out in the Bible and as spelled out in reality, those with an entitled mindset, those that feel they've been scorned, the most deadly creature on the planet. And so I thought about Cersei and just like what they were trying to convey in Game of Thrones. And I've told you all before, all the TV show was what people will do for power. And there's nothing they won't do. There's no level of depravity they won't resort to. And so in tearing down of America, for people to grab power and people to remain in control and for people to continue to be able to exploit as many people as possible, they will install unqualified, entitled idiots everywhere. Put them in control of the conversation so the truth never gets discussed, so the public never gets enlightened, so the public is never able to make good decisions. There was a like when Thomas Jefferson and these guys founded the country, and Thomas Jefferson said he'd rather have a free press because he believed that keeping America informed, the citizens informed, would allow them to make good decisions in the best interest of America. And so other people were like, well, we got to keep them uninformed. We'll have a so-called free press, but we will overrun it with unqualified, entitled people. And we will control them because they're unqualified and they have the entitlement mindset. There's nothing they won't say. I've actually years ago had lunch with Joy Reid, long before she became this person. This was long before she was some sort of television star. And she was a relatively normal person. She was not this vicious, racist idiot that she is today. But if she had to play the vicious, racist idiot to earn millions of dollars on TV, she was clearly willing to do that. This cleanup process that America is going through, or needs to go through, if we don't get out of the mindset that we owe women a debt, and if we don't get women out of the mindset that we owe them a debt, if we don't stand our ground, if we don't defend the patriarchy and male leadership, we'll never take this country back. We'll never create a place where it's safe, where the innocence of kids are protected. We'll never get there. As long as man is out simping for women, and that's what we've been doing for about the last 120 years, trying to figure out how to make women our equal, something God did not do. They're called the weaker vessel for a reason. They're a compliment to us. A wife is a man's glory. They are not our equals. That doesn't make them inferior, but we have two different roles. I want to play some more of Joy Taylor's greatest hits. Let's play shot number 3. She's once again talking about Trump's assassination attempt, one of her favorite topics. Play the clip.
That the media will acquiesce to trying to convince people that the things they've been experiencing for the last 5-6 years didn't happen. That the greatest purveyor and promoter of political violence, really, since anyone can remember, since George Wallace, I think. And people are concerned and expressing concern that we won't be the guardians of memory. And that we will allow Donald Trump, as he is, bathed in the glory and grandeur of his party, to rewrite himself as both a hero and a victim.
Let's say you went on TV in a pink outfit and you colored whatever hair you had pink and you put on those fake eyelashes. There was a time when America was sane. They would say, hey man, they got this crazy person on TV. She's bald-headed, she's colored whatever hair, she's got pink, she's got these big fake eyelashes on, mascara running all over her face. Hey, what's going on? This is crazy. Hey, maybe something's wrong with my TV, and you start calling neighborhoods. Hey, is there a crazy person on your TV as well, or am I getting a certain feed? You start playing with the antenna on top of your TV. This reception must be wrong. No way they would put a crazy person on TV with pink hair, big fake eyelashes, and a pink outfit on, but out of our simping, out of our delusion that women are a victim of the patriarchy and male sexism. We've now allowed this, and they're going to replace Joy Reid with another bald-headed woman. Bald-headed black woman, Simone Sanders. This Simone Sanders is not the woman that's going to play Jesus Christ. I forget her name. That's going to play Jesus Christ in A Star Is Born. It's like the attack and the promotion of the bald-headed black woman and centering her and placing her in critical roles. This is all intentional. And some of you will hear this as like a vicious attack on black women. It's a vicious attack on feminism and the women who are sickest with feminism. And it's black women. The facts are in. The facts are the facts. The group that has seized control of their men is black women. They're in control. They're the leaders. You look at the results. Our children, our neighborhoods, our educational progress. The results are in. It doesn't work. And they're planning on, and they're trying to do it to the rest of the country. And that's why Jen Psaki and all the other liberal, feminist white women, they've seized control. All on the theory that they were mistreated 100 years ago or 60 years ago. And they're owed a debt. And the more we empower them, the better the country will be. It's a joke. Joy Reid, let's play shot number 4. Joy Reid complaining about MAGA and, hey, make your own Thanksgiving Day sandwich or whatever. Let's play the clip.
These are the people who say the undocumented, who they get to call illegal immigrants, like the Pilgrims had permission to come here, have to suffer the consequences of their actions, right? They made the choice to overstay their visas or come into our country illegally. So if they get deported, consequences. But you right-wingers shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of your votes? You don't want to be around me because I voted for fascism. No fair. I'm coughing on you with COVID, but you want me to wear a mask for your safety? No fair. My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone. You got your heart's desire, the president you dreamed of, and worship instead of Jesus.
I love the last part, worshiped instead of Jesus. Women, feminist women, you're worshiping yourself. And let's say, which I don't believe, that there's a part of the MAGA deal that worships Donald Trump. Let's say let's 50%, 25%, 90%. I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't care. There probably is some percentage that puts their faith and hope in Donald Trump. But I just saw a group of black MAGA supporters at the White House. When Trump calls up the Pfizer CEO, they booed. That didn't look like worship to me. That looked like some people was like, hey man, we're down with you, Trump, but we ain't down with everything. But regardless, the whole point of feminism, the whole point of centering what people feel and my truth, it's a self-worship. The Bible is crystal clear on who should be worshiped and whose word matters. And it's not mine or yours or anybody that can hear me. It's only God. And God has spoken about the patriarchy. And God has spoken about male leadership. And all the people like Joy Reid, like Joy Taylor, like Jen Psaki, like all the rest of them that want female leadership and think that's the cure, that's the solution. That's you trying to pleasure yourself. You're in a state of delusion. You can look at the results of the matriarchy just as much as anybody else. You know the details are in, you know the facts are in, you know the data is in. It doesn't work. But you're so self-interested, you couldn't care less that it doesn't work. All Joy Reid knew was that there was a $2 million paycheck in it for her. And so if she had to go on TV and tell these lies and be racially divisive, she was willing to do that because she individually is owed a debt. The entitled mindset, it kills. The entitled mindset, and it doesn't matter who carries it. Whether you're LGBTQ, oh, I've been so mistreated. I'm owed a debt. Oh, this world has been so unfair to the gays. We need a whole month to celebrate. The entitled mindset, that's what destroys. And you need to be fearful of anyone who has it, even if they are part of the chosen people. And oh, I'm owed a debt because of what happened 80 years ago. The entitled mindset, it kills. This is across the board. And so as we allow people with an entitled mindset, and just let me make it so that even a baby can understand. You know why I don't have an entitled mindset? Because I've accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and personal Savior. And so all of my entitlement goes out the window, and all that I can be filled with is gratitude. All I can do, whether I want, trust me, some days I wake up feeling sorry for myself. And then I remember who I serve and what I am. And then I let the gratitude spring from there. Like, oh my God, I'm a child of God. Jesus Christ died on a cross for me. I'm not allowed to feel entitled. I'm not allowed to feel like a victim. And so when you look at Joy Reid, you look at this feminist movement, you look at all this, the LGBTQ, they wake up every day. The world owes them a debt. And they may pretend and go to church and pretend like they're some sort of Christian. But as soon as they leave church, the world owes them a debt. And everything they do, Monday through Saturday, and except for those 2 hours, they're inside of a church. Everything they do is about the debt that is owed them. And oh my God, how dare you? You didn't speak to me properly. You don't like me. You don't, their whole worldview is narcissistic. They can't get, I don't care what people think about me. And I say that sincerely, and it took a lot of effort to get there and to get the understanding that what people think about Jason Whitlock is unimportant. What they think about Jesus Christ, very important. And it pretty much determines whether or not we're going to have shared values or not. And so there's a lot of people that think they care a lot about Jesus Christ. But if you evaluate their actions and their approach to life, all they care about is what people think about them. And all of their discussion is about what people think about them. They hold daily discussions about, oh boy, this person or that person doesn't like black people, doesn't like gay people, doesn't like Jewish people, doesn't like this person or that person, doesn't like whatever. It's a mindset that is at the root of destroying America. It's at the root of misinforming America. We can't make good decisions because the people paid to give us information wake up every day thinking about themselves, thinking about whoever's paying them, thinking about how do I usurp authority from the patriarchy. It's a very destructive mindset. And so many of us celebrated Joy Reid's demise. I certainly celebrated it. But I do think they're not changing up. They're not about to unpack some new strategy. They're done with Joy Reid. She's been their useful idiot. She's past her expiration date. She couldn't draw ratings anymore. No one was buying her stick. They'll roll out a new, more clever version of Joy Reid. They'll get them a new Rachel Maddow. I say that, and last week, TJ Moe and I had I think it was last week, we had a long debate on a conference call we do every morning about where we're at right now in this country. How much? And look, there's nothing but great news seemingly every day. Dan Bongino just got named Deputy Director of the FBI, and people are celebrating. And when I read it, I was like, holy cow, Dan Bongino, that's awesome. But I look at the other side, and this all connects to what I want to say about Stephen A. Smith. I look at the other side, and I go, this is business as usual. Stephen A. Smith, as I told you all nearly 2 years ago, they're running Stephen A. Smith for president. And I told you all 2 years ago, year and a half ago, like, hey man, Stephen A. Smith is one of the biggest frauds in the history of sports media. And I walked you through all of his fraudulence, written in his book, exposed by investigation by us? How much of it is a total lie? I did this 2 years ago. Those of you who've been watching the show. And I'm sitting here today like, this is unabated. Stephen A. Smith, despite me exposing the fraudulence of him, despite me telling you 2 years ago, hey, what he's doing, what Bob Iger and Disney and Stephen A. Smith are up to. The man is now fourth in the prediction market for the Democratic nomination. Gavin Newsom at the top, Josh Shapiro number 2, Wes Moore number 3, and Stephen A. Smith number 4. Unqualified and entitled. That is Stephen A. Smith. I've been sitting here explaining to you all in detail how unqualified Stephen A. Smith is and how he has lived a life of entitlement, given things he has not earned, allowed to pass himself off as some sort of college basketball player, caught in those lies with no repercussions. People allowed to have some journalistic career and pass himself off as some sort of newspaper sports columnist because of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because of liberal people's desire to put unqualified black people in places of influence so that they can control them. I've walked you through all of it. And here we are, every single day. Stephen A. Smith just keeps inching and inching up and becoming a real factor in Democratic politics without a single qualification. James Carville goes after him last week, what I believe, in a fake way. But say, hey, Stephen A. doesn't know anything about politics. Of course he doesn't know anything about politics. But James Carville says, yeah, he knows a lot about sports. No, he doesn't. He's been propped up his entire career in the sports lane. There's no one that covers sports legitimately with an honest bone in their body that thinks Stephen A. Smith knows anything about sports. The man said on national TV at the height of his so-called newspaper journalistic career that I think it was the San Diego Chargers at the time, yeah, they should kick the field goal on 3rd down, so if they miss it, they can kick it on 4th down. This man knows nothing about sports. But it's never mattered because he can be controlled. He's unqualified, been installed, and he's entitled. And so, again, I was telling you all that TJ and I were bickering back and forth, or debating back and forth, not bickering, but, and TJ's like, man, the world has changed. Donald Trump, and we're installing these people, and let him run Stephen A. Smith. That would be great. The world is completely different now. And I'm like, I'm not so sure. If the world were completely different, I think the Democrats would be trying a different strategy. I think the Democrats know and still believe that, hey, Donald Trump is a unique situation that, 2 of the last 3 election cycles, he's gotten us, but it's going to go back to business as usual. We will install whoever we want in the presidency. And if we don't install them, eventually we will capture them, and they might as well have been installed. And I say that, I look at the Democrats and I look what they're doing in this orchestrated thing for Stephen A. Smith that I told you I could see 2 years ago. And I'm like, this is business as usual. And I don't blame them. Because in their minds, they're like, man, we got 150 years of controlling these elections and creating the myth, the failed, the foolish belief that there's some sort of choice here. We've been fixing elections for 100 and some odd years. And we've killed presidents when necessary. And y'all think Donald Trump and Kash Patel and RFK Jr. are going to change this? And look, I'm rooting for them. I'm hopeful that this is real change. But what makes me skeptical is the other side keeps going business as usual. And Stephen A. Smith is business as usual. And I don't blame them. Joe Biden, he was installed in 2020. They rigged up their primary situation so that Joe Biden would be the nominee. He was not voted in through a proper primary situation. He was installed. And then they turned around and installed Kamala Harris. And that's why Stephen A. Smith is talking so loud about, hey man, if I don't have to run, I'll run for president. And he's basically saying, if y'all install me the way you installed Hillary Clinton as a candidate, the way you installed Joe Biden as a candidate, the way you installed Kamala Harris as a president, yeah, then I'll run. And then if you can hook me up the way you hooked Joe Biden up with 81 million votes, I'll definitely run. And he's been led to believe that that will happen. And we're saying, oh, well, COVID, well, that's what explains 2020, and COVID is why they got to change the rules. They will come up with something new. They always do. I don't want to sound super cynical, because I'm telling you, I wake up most days and I look at the news, and I woke up this morning and said, dang, Dan Bongino, look at this team Trump has put together. And I'm hopeful. But as I look at the other side and say, they don't think anything's changed. They just think they need to install the right person, and then they'll create the right situation for the right person to get elected president. And fourth, this man is a talk show host on ESPN who strings together words in a thesaurus, who knows nothing about sports, and who knows even less about politics. And I'm watching him get passed off on Sean Hannity's show and all these other shows as if he has something important to say about politics. He doesn't. Going on TV and saying Kamala Harris was a bad candidate, that's not provocative, it's not thoughtful, it's not insightful, it's not profound. James Carville saying anything about Stephen A. Smith, it's all, and what they think, and I said this I think last week, is they think he's Black Donald Trump, and that this is 2015, 2016 all over again, and that, hey, Donald Trump was a talk show or was a TV show host, and, you know, he was a blowhard, and he's, you know, Stephen A. Smith, blowhard, he's on TV, and people laughed at the thought of Donald Trump being a president in 2015, and Trump just kept himself in the conversation, kept himself in the news cycle, and the next thing you know, he was a viable presidential candidate, and the next thing you know, he was president. They think they're doing the same thing with Stephen A. Smith. And James Carville participated in that last week by taking a pot shot at Stephen A. Smith, just keeping the conversation going. And now, here we are, fourth in the betting markets. This, people that know Stephen A. Smith, people that have read his work, teachers that you know, this man got held back in fourth grade. Out of his own mouth, the man said his counselor in 11th grade laughed at the thought of this man going to college, laughed at the thought. This is an idiot. And I say that the man sat on a couch and told some interviewer that, yeah, the drug dealers in his community, they all put out the word, don't touch Stephen A. Smith, because we know this little retarded boy that got held back in fourth grade, he's going to be a big deal someday. And there was a whole statement put out across the neighborhood. There's a hedge of protection around Stephen A. Smith. He's so important to our future. He said this during an interview. This man told a far-fetched story about, yeah, in February in 1987, I had an outdoor basketball tryout with a Winston-Salem State player, and then he drove me down the next week to try out in front of Big House Games, and I hit 17 straight three-pointers. And they gave me a scholarship on the spot. This is in February. He went to a scrimmage in February when Winston-Salem State would have been wrapping up its regular season. This is only an idiot would tell this story. He told it. He's gotten away with it. He's a useful idiot. He's backed by Bob Iger and Disney. He's backed by people that are trying to pervert your children, that are putting in Disney movies all these sexual things. They feel like nothing has changed. And I'm humble enough to say, hey, they may know better than me. They know what they've gotten away with. They know that the American public watched Building 7 fall and didn't bat an eye. Hey, well, that's crazy. Nothing hit Building 7. And we're just going to accept that Osama bin Laden sitting in a cave in Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever the hell he was, he caused Building 7 to fall, to commit suicide. They know what they've got. JFK was killed in broad daylight. And oh yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald did it. They've seen us buy worse. And so selling Stephen A. Smith, this is business as usual. This is an orchestrated plan to install unqualified, entitled people in positions of power. Unqualified, entitled people are dangerous. They're easy to control. They have no moral compass. There's nothing they won't do for money and power. I want to play just a quick clip of Stephen A. talking about James Carville, and just it's amazing what he says that he won't do or incapable of doing. Let's play, SOT 5. Let's just play that clip.
And if you're going to mention my name, can we cut out the profanity? Can we stop cussing? Can we stop acting like we're juveniles? You're better than that, sir. You're better than that.
So that's Stephen A. Smith scolding James Carville. Let's play Stephen A. Smith talking about me.
I've had enough of that fat bastard. That piece of shit.
No moral compass. No consistent logic. No standard of behavior. No accountability. This is a unqualified, useful idiot. And he's entitled. And as I've tried to explain to you all, the unqualified, entitled idiot is the bane of society. And so I'm glad Joy Reid got what was coming to her. I'm glad. Am I confident that we've seen the last of this? No, not at all. There's a side of America, and it's hard to identify. There's just part of America that will always fall for. That we've baked in so much racial idolatry. We've mainstreamed so much racial idolatry. We've branded racism or anti-white racism as a positive, and anti-black racism as a negative. Our logic is so inconsistent that I'm not sure we can fix this. I'm not sure. I'm hopeful, God can fix anything. And hopefully he's using these people that have ascended to power to right some of these wrongs and let some level of truth return to America. But I'm a bit skeptical and cynical. I'm going to move on from here. I want to bring Shemeka Michelle in, let her have a word or two about Joy Reid, and then have a conversation or get her thoughts on Steve Smith Sr. Before I do that, though, I do want to remind you all about Roll Call 3.0. It's May 2nd and 3rd right here in Nashville. If you go to our website, fearlessrollcall.com, you can get all your information there. It's just $100 for our all-day Saturday event. If you buy your ticket right now, all-day Saturday, the men's event, we have some special VIP events Friday night, Saturday night, Saturday morning. You can get all that information, fearlessrollcall.com. Once you're here in Nashville with us, Roll Call 3.0 is going to be bigger and better than Roll Call 1 and 2 combined. Fearlessrollcall.com. Don't go anywhere. Shemeka Michelle, next.
ESPN sucks.
I mean, look, I voted for Lamar. The votes are public. We were split on this show. It was a dead heat. It was extremely close. The only wrong take on MVP is that it was obvious between these two. Because it was not obvious and it went down to the wire.
You know what's hard for us to do? And anybody who has ever been in a relationship knows this. It's hard to say, baby, I was wrong. And that's what Cam Newton can't do.
Stephen A, it's just not sexy enough for you. Stephen A is all about box office. He wants every free agent to go to the Lakers. He hates small markets. It's just not sexy enough for him. So this is through Steve. This is through. It's like every time there's a good player that's in like Milwaukee or wherever, you're like, bring him to New York.
But hey, if we're gonna be on the same team, if we're gonna work for the same network, don't do that. Kurt, Chris Fowler, I promise you. If you ever mention anything, any platform that I'm on again and talking about, I wonder what they're going to say in negativity, I promise you, ESPN ain't got enough bosses to keep me off y'all for what I'm going to say. So I'm going to let y'all slide today. I'm going to turn it over to D.O. before I get myself in trouble. But don't play with me. Go ahead, D.O.
Damn.
I got to follow?
Go ahead.
Man.
And that's why
ESPN sucks.
All right, welcome back. Shemeka Michelle, welcome into the show. I'm going to start you with Joy Reid. Are you in a celebratory mood because Joy Reid finally got what's coming to her?
Absolutely. Just like everybody else I've seen on my timeline, except for what's the guy's name that has his hair sticking on top of his head? It's like Ely something.
Ellie Mistyle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Ellie Mae Clampett is what I like to call him. Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. He was saying that the reason Joy is out of a job is because she brought so many people like himself to her platform and gave them a voice. And so they're angry with her for giving all of these people a voice. That's ridiculous. Her ratings were down because people are tired of racial maddow, as you said, and we just don't want to hear it. I know she's sitting around thinking, my goodness, I went bald head for nothing. I shaved my hair for this just to get fired. She should have just kept the Trump wig she was wearing. I'm so happy because next, the view needs to be next. I'm so sick of hearing these women.
That was going to be my follow-up. There are rumors that they're going to shake up the View, and they always say, yeah, we're going to put some conservative women on the View or blah blah. But they're always, to me, half-baked conservatives because again, they tend to be feminists, and, you know, feminism is a disease. It's the silent killer. And, and, you know, whether it's conservative feminist or a liberal feminist, it's going to be an avoidance of truth. And so, you know, I'd love to see him put someone like Allie Beth Stuckey on there, or somebody with a pair, or someone like yourself. They really, honestly, they should put someone like you on there. There would be some real fireworks. That, you know, there would be some real disagreement, and someone finally, again, like a defense of male leadership. You'll never hear that on network TV.
Absolutely not. When you played the clip of Joy Reid asking, was Biden recovering from COVID the same thing as Trump standing up after he got shot? I was like, no, and you sound stupid. And I was thinking to myself, see, that's when I would get in trouble if I was actually on a panel with her, because I can hear them now saying, I'm not stupid. Didn't say you were stupid. I said you sound stupid, because she absolutely did. That was a ridiculous comparison, and I cannot believe the two of them sat there and didn't correct her.
It is what it is. All right, Shemeka. Steve Smith, Sr., former NFL player, really good player. I think he put out a video apologizing. Is that what I'm about to show? I think this is Steve Smith, Sr. apologizing for his role. He's sleeping with a married woman who works for the Baltimore Ravens. Steve Smith played for the Baltimore Ravens at one point. This woman's husband put out information, including voicemails, I believe, exposing the fact that Steve Smith, who's married, was sleeping with his wife. Let's watch Steve Smith's this first video. I believe this is Steve Smith Sr. Apologizing. Play shot 7.
Hey, yo, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you've been f***ing my wife, bro. What you gotta say for yourself?
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? You f***ing knew she was married. You're not a f***ing idiot, man. You're f***ing Steve Smith Sr. What kind of dumb shit was that? Why are you quiet, man? Be a fucking man. Steve. You ain't a fucking man, bro. All that shit you do on fucking TV, all that shit talking you do to other people. Now someone's got you on the fucking phone, you can't even fucking man up.
All right, so that was the husband confronting Steve Smith. Some people, and I believe Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco would be among these people. I believe on Nightcap, they're questioning like, hey, why is this man, he should be upset with his wife, not Steve Smith Sr. Let's play Shannon Sharp and Ocho talking about this. Let's play that clip.
Well, listen, he said he's sorry. He said he's sorry, Unc. Now listen, this is what you don't do. This is as a man, understanding, you know, that's my wife, girlfriend, someone you're seeing, someone you're talking to. You never confront the individual, because Steve Smith Sr. owes you no loyalty.
Steve Smith ain't married to you, bro.
She's not married. Steve is not married to you. You talk to your wife. You check your wife, and that goes for any and everybody. I know a lot of people, you want to crash out about your woman and all this stuff, man.
Or your man.
Or your man. Listen, it goes both ways. It always comes down to me again. Understand who you're marrying. Understand human nature. Human nature is undefeated. I'm gonna say that as well. I don't care how people come off. I don't care how innocent they may seem. I don't care how much they tell you they love you. When certain opportunities present themselves, they gonna go.
So I'm gonna say this. I disagree with both of these guys in terms of, because I'm sure this man has had a conversation with his wife or ex-wife or whatever. I'm sure he has confronted her, but I think he has every right to confront Steve Smith Sr. as well. And this whole deal of like, hey, I have no control. If certain opportunities present themselves, I have no discipline, I have no control, I have no honor. Because and let me go ahead and cop and say I have slept with a married woman. Just let me go ahead. That's on me. That's on me. And no matter how I justified it, and I did justify it, because my justification was I'm just keeping it real because I don't want anybody to think I'm some sort of a saint. But my justification was, man, I was tapping that before you ever married her. That was mine before. And so what was mine then is all, this is the mentality I was in. What was mine then is always mine. And so again, I've committed this crime, but that's a bad look for me. And if the man had found out and had confronted me, I wouldn't be saying like, no, I'll take that up with your girl. That's on me. That's a bad look for me. It's a lack of ethics on my part. Anyway, your thoughts?
Jason, Cash Doll has a line in a song that says, and I never tell a chick about the pipe I get, because if she ever disrespect, I have to fight that bitch. Listen, I'm fighting everybody. We already know I'm going to pull that thing out and I'm going to go to blasting. Everybody can get it. But you know, when I think about it, I can't see my grandfather responding the way this man did. Or let me take my grandfather out of it. I can't see Ike Turner responding the way this man did. He's calling this man on the phone. He's begging him for something that he's not going to get. Saying, you know, oh, you can't man up. He didn't man up. Inside your wife. What are you talking about? You're not going to get any type of regret or real remorse from this man. So you're looking for that and you're looking silly. I think that people are way too invested on social media, because to me, this was, you know, something that he wanted to put out so everybody could see and everybody could back up his decision. Listen, if you're going to drop that woman, as you should, because what she did was absolutely wrong. There's no excuse. You don't just slip up and fall on a penis. Drop her and stand 10 toes down with it, regardless of who backs you up, regardless of who knows or who's on your side or who agrees with you. Do what you need to do for you. You know, and I mean, of course, some people work through it, they patch things up, but you shouldn't have to run to the internet for us to give our 2 cents. We don't know you. We're not going to bed with you. We're not waking up with you. And this man is going to deal with whatever he has to deal with his wife, and their lives are going to go on. Meanwhile, he's looking for something on social media that he's just not going to get. I think we're too invested in that. I remember when, you know, people got upset with me a couple of years ago for the Leslie Jones comment, and people were calling me saying, are you okay? Because they saw the backlash of the people that were coming after me. And I'm like, I'm fine. This is social media. Once you close your phone, it's over. It doesn't exist. This isn't real life. This is something that needs to be dealt with in real life. And I don't know what he was looking for from this man, but he just wasn't going to get it. So in my opinion, I think, go ahead.
Let me give you perhaps what he's thinking, and then you respond to that. I think he got exactly what he was looking for. I'm not justifying, I'm not saying it's the way I would have handled it, but what the man was looking for was revenge. And so Steve Smith, I believe, is married. And so this man wants to cause as much chaos in Steve Smith's life as has been caused in his own. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but that's what the man wants. He would love to see Steve Smith in divorce court, and maybe if he's in the right state, this could cost Steve Smith several $1 million. Not saying this is what I would do, not saying this is the right thing to do, but I think that's what he's looking for. He wants Steve Smith's marriage ruined and costly. He wants Steve Smith's reputation embarrassed. And so that's what he's hoping to get from this. We'll see if he gets it. Not saying it's the right thing, but I do think that's his motive. He wants to cause chaos in Steve Smith's personal life the same way there's chaos in his own.
Look, I used to have that revenge mentality, and sometimes it still rises up in me. But, you know, thinking about the past, I would say, you cheat, I cheat, we Cheetos, you know. But the reality of it is, if you black my eye and I turn around and black your eye, it's not going to get rid of the black eye that I have. My black eye is still going to be there. So that's what I want people to understand. You can go and get revenge. It's not going to do away with the pain that you feel for the betrayal of this person that stood before God and made vows with you. That's not going to go away just because you go and see somebody else's marriage go up in flames, or you go and sleep with somebody else. That pain will still be there. And so I think that this man needs to deal with the pain and the betrayal that he feels from his wife, because no matter how much you put on the internet, no matter what Stephen says or whatever, your pain is going to be there, because we are all humans. We all have emotions, and that has to be dealt with.
So, and totally agree with you. Now we got two black eyes instead of one, and that doesn't help anybody. And so, you know, Jason Whitlock, at my age now, with all the life experience, I would be right there with you. This man appears to be about 40, 42. I don't know what his wife was, and he's dealing with a lot of pain and a lot of embarrassment, and who knows what else, because, you know, you're talking about a pro athlete, you're talking about a loose woman, you're talking about a loose dude, and you know, who knows what has been brought into their marriage, STDs, who knows? And so this man initially giving into some revenge, not defending it, not saying it's the right thing to do, but this whole mentality that somehow he looks weak, I disagree with. And I think that for Shannon Sharpe, who's the same age as me, and Ocho, who's probably just 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 years younger than me, for them to sit there and say, hey, that man don't owe you nothing. You know, he's just a wolf out there with no sexual discipline, and he don't owe you nothing. It's about, at some point you have to understand, what do you owe yourself, and more importantly, what do you owe God? And obviously, Nightcap isn't a show about what you owe God. And for most people, no one thinks about what they owe God. They're living in the world. All they can think about is what they owe themselves. And so Ocho is going to promote that mentality. Hey, man, all I owe myself is an ejaculation. That's what's most important to me. And if this woman's willing to give it to me, this or that. But at some point, I like to say, as older people, it's our job to pass on wisdom, not to continue building a brand, not to continue, I'm the most macho, tough guy. At some point, it's got to be beyond clicks. It's got to be beyond brand. It's got to be beyond just, hey, I want to look tough. And there has to be a higher level. And it's funny. I bet you Ocho and Shannon consider themselves pro-black. And they're giving you a peek into the mentality of the pro-blacks. They're not pro-black. They're pro themselves, period. They owe no other man anything, not the respect of what he's put it. And you've already heard me plead guilty that I've been there and have done this. And so I'm not trying to disassociate. I've been in that poisonous mentality. At some point, you have to come up out of it. At some point, you have to explain to young people and others, hey, that's just not the way. You're not rewarded. Society's not rewarded. the institution of marriage, which is a godly covenant. And I'm telling you, both Ocho and Shannon, I'm sure privately would claim some sort of faith. They have no interest in living out that faith. They have no interest in spelling out or living up to any of the promises in that faith. These lukewarm, ice cold Christians are the bane of society. I'll give you the final thought on this, Shemeka.
Now, I was just thinking, Jason, you're right. Once you get older, we do have to give wisdom back to the people. You know, I just can't help thinking about how when Diamond came in the house and Ebony was in there with her bedroom, in her bedroom with her boyfriend, and she went and got her gun out of the shoebox. That would be me. I'm just thinking, you know.
Hold on, what are we talking about? Waiting to exhale? What
Players
are we
Club.
talking about?
Players Club.
Oh, okay.
Ended up, and her cousin was in the bathroom. They always show that little meme where she in the bathroom crying and she thinks she has left the house. I'm all over the place. I got some good wisdom for you, but listen, cheating is, I just think that goes too far. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. And so I understand the man being very upset. I just, you know, feel like the internet is not going to make you feel better. I just don't think it's going to help him.
Well, thank you, Shemeka. I'll end on this note. He probably does feel better. He just doesn't realize his feelings are irrelevant, and they're not going to lead to sustained holiness, happiness, anything. But Shemeka, thank you. Great job as always. We'll see you later this week. We'll play some tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all the moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, no deceiving. We all wanna be free.